My next guest fights for the vacant RFA welterweight title on January 15th against Ben Smith. Bojan Velickovic joins me here on the program for the very first time. Bojan, how are you?
I'm very good, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very glad to have opportunity to do this interview with you.
Well, I appreciate it too. And you know, right off the bat, if people didn't catch your name there, you are Serbian. Today is Christmas Day for you. So I want to thank you for joining me on Christmas Day because that's pretty nice of you.
No problem, man. As I told you, it's a pleasure for me to do this interview, and I'm right now at my friend's house. We are celebrating here. There's a crew over there on a couch.
Nice. Awesome.
So yeah, no problem.
Good stuff. Well, those who don't know your backstory, you know, how did you first get involved in MMA?
All right. So my first touch with MMA was the gym where I was training Muay Thai at that moment. I was competing. I started training Muay Thai when I was 19 years old. I had a couple of guys from Serbian MMA coming to my gym to work on their striking game, and I was helping a couple of them get ready for their fights. And as I did judo when I was a kid, like we did a couple of drills, some clean stuff, and I was able to throw them down and actually like to work with them on the ground as well. And they said like, man, you have amazing, you have amazing judo background, and you know some stuff on the ground. Why don't you start doing the MMA? I was like, no, man, that's not for me. I'm just striking. I'm just doing striking. And then there was a reality show called Road to the Ring of Fire, which one of the people that I'm working right now, Sven Bean, he was involved in the whole show. He did it together with one person from Serbia, and they made a reality show where it was 18 guys from Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, and we were competing over there. It was a show, obviously like some kind of European Ultimate Fighter show, and we were training for a week, then fighting like everybody fighting on a weekend, then another week of training, then competing again, and it was like elimination, and I won the whole show, and the reward for winning the show was since it was Road to the Ring of Fire, the final thing was a fight on the Ring of Fire show here in Denver, and that's what brought me to US, and that's how I got involved in MMA actually. One of the things that were like conditions to get into the show was not to have MMA fight professional, not to have professional MMA fight. So there was a lot of people from different backgrounds, from wrestling, from jiu-jitsu, from kickboxing. I was Muay Thai and kickboxing guy, and I don't know. I made it to the finals. I started doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling just a couple of months before the show, and I don't know. I picked it up really really fast since I already had some kind of background with judo and the ground game, and these guys that I was training with that obviously helped me, and I won the show, and that's how I got first to the States, and here to Denver, and then I did camp for that fight in Florida with ATT, and then I came to Denver. I fought. I won the fight with knockout after just a minute and 35 seconds. And when I went back to ATT, and when they asked me how we did the fight, I told them everything, and I asked like, what's next thing, and they told me, man, you're always welcome to come to join our team whenever you're ready. And then I went back home to Serbia. I did my visa. ATT helped me. They gave me the reference letter for professional athlete visa, and here I am now, 4 years later, doing my thing, and fighting for the title.
Yeah, and you also made some changes about 4 months ago. You moved to Colorado permanently, and I know you're training at Team Elevation right now. How did this sort of all come together? Because you mentioned there you were training with American Top Team.
Yes, correct. Well, I did my fight here with Gilbert Smith last November. and then I stayed. There's a huge Serbian community here in Denver, and I decided to stay a week after the fight here, and I was just like, they were taking me to Denver, showing me all these incredible and beautiful things about Denver and Colorado, and I actually went to meet the coaches from Team Elevation because we shared the same locker room at the event where I fought, and they told me that if I want to come train, do my camp here, that like I'm always welcome to come. And I met back then Neil Magny, Brandon Thatch, and a couple other guys from gym coaches, and then I got offered to fight. Where was that fight? It was in Minnesota against Chris Hugh, and they told me that Neil Magny and Brandon Thatch are getting ready for their fights UFC in Denver, and that I'm welcome to join their camp, and which would be part of my camp too. And I just packed my stuff. I came. I did 2 months, 7 or 8 weeks camp. I felt amazing. I went. I got the TKO first round victory, and I felt amazing. And I decided to come more often to Denver. And at the first point, people from ATT told me that it's not a problem for me because there's a lot of guys that travel and just comes to do their camp in ATT for a couple of months, and they originally live in Dallas, in I don't know, Canada, England, Australia. There's a people all around the world that comes to ATT to do their camp, and when I moved to Denver 4 months ago, I started training with Elevation, and then when TJ joined the gym, Matt Brown and a couple other guys, they just sent me the email that it would be best for me to stick with one camp, that I cannot train. It would be like bad if I train with Team Elevation and ATT. And since I moved to Denver and I decided to live here, I wasn't thinking really long. I decided to stay here and do my thing. I was training for my last 3 fights here and won all 3. Eventually, that showed that I'm improving my skills and my game with the people that I train right now, and I'm not thinking to change that really soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and things have worked out for you quite well. I know, a lot of you mentioned, being with the team. It's obviously pretty stacked now with the addition of Brown and Dillashaw. I heard you also picked up a new nickname, the Serbian Steel. Who gave you that nickname?
One of my cornermans for the fight that I did in Minnesota. My cornermans were Neil Magny and Sean Madden, who's my teammate, my striking coach, and a couple other things. And Neil Magny was my sparring partner, and I don't know, we were like sitting around joking. That's what we do when we like travel for the fight, and I don't know how they just come up. Pretty much wherever I train, I get a couple of new nicknames, especially when I'm changing camps. When I was training in Poland, I had some, I don't know, I even forgot some crazy nickname that one guy from Poland came up with. Then when I was in ATT, one of the coaches gave me nickname Prometheus, as that movie. I don't know, Serbian Sensation, and now when I came here, they told me that I'm Serbian Steel. I was like, okay, I just
Just take
got
it.
used to it. Yeah, I just take it, man. I never came up with my own nickname. I think that's something that people around you, uh, that they find the best way to describe you with the nickname.
Right.
And if the Serbian Steel is something that like uh, that describes me around them, I'm just ready to go with it.
Absolutely, and us talk about this fight here. I talked about it off the top. You're taking on Ben Smith. He's 6-1 in his last 7 fights. How do you think you match up against him?
Uh, I think we will match up really good. I think we have different styles, but the thing is that I like to do, I like to fit in someone else's style as well. I like to, I mean. I was striker, and I did the fight against Gilbert Smith, and he's a pure wrestler guy, and I tried to wrestle with him the whole fight. I lost by majority decision, and they took away point from me and a couple other things that happened in the fight. So I showed that even when I'm not fighting at my best, when I fight it, like I was fighting against wrestler, and I did wrestling the whole fight, and I almost won. That just shows that like I like to compete. I'm a very competitive guy. I like to improve in all the styles and all the aspects of the game. I was doing pretty much my whole camp. I did the same thing for this fight. I know that Ben is a very tough guy. He's very strong wrestler. Very good. He has very decent striking too. Amazing on the ground. He has very good control on the ground, which he showed against Gilbert Smith. And I don't know. I'm just ready to go with it, man. You know, I think I showed that I improved a lot my last three fights, and I'm just ready to go.
I was going to say, absolutely. You've looked great in your last couple fights. You mentioned your training partners there. You mentioned working with Neil Magny. Who else have you been working with specifically in your training camp for Ben Smith?
Uh, Obviously, Neil is there all the time. He was injured first half of my camp for this fight. He injured his right hand against in his last fight.
Against Gaslam.
So he wasn't really able to help me as much as he did before for my camps. But he was obviously part of my camp, especially now these last couple of weeks. Brandon Thatch is somebody that I was working the most. I think he pushed me really a lot. He helped me. He's incredible guy, man. His career is very inspiring for me. We actually did the first fight that I did in US that I mentioned before in a Ring of Fire. I was fighting on the same event. He was actually main event on that same night, and since then he improved a lot. He's a very good fighter in UFC, in top 20 or top 15, and to have opportunity to train with him and to be like pushed in a same camp with him since he's fighting soon too. It's incredible. I feel really good. There's a couple other guys too that like they're not on a UFC level, but there's actually 7 of us from Team Elevation fighting on a RFA card here in Denver. So there's a couple other guys, Sonny and Cody Yan. They're both All-American wrestlers. They both did first division wrestling. I don't know. There's a lot of guys in our.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very stacked team. You definitely can't go wrong with the guys you're training with. So
And everybody's like 155, 170, 185.
Right. Yeah.
All guys around my weight. And I don't know. I just feel that I did an amazing camp and that I'm ready to go.
That's great to hear. Well, I want to get your prediction for the fight. How do you see this one ending on January 15th?
That's my thing. I don't like to predict the fights. I believe in myself, and I believe I'm gonna win. How? I don't know. I don't have any particular game plan. I just like to go over there and have fun. Wherever the fight goes. If at one point I decide to wrestle and to take him down and try to submit him or ground and pound him, I'm gonna do it. If I decide to strike and I have tricky stand up. I show that I can drop serious guys with a couple of weapons that I have in my arsenal. So you can expect even something like that. You can expect a decision fight. I like to go for the distance lately. My last 2 fights I did the decision. I actually before that all 3 losses that I have in my career, those were the decision losses, and I was always a little bit suspicious about my cardio. Although I was always training like crazy, I never knew to manage my energy for the whole fight. And this is the first 5 round fight for me, and I would like even to try to go for the distance. I train here in Denver. A lot of people have a problem with elevation, and I think my lungs are ready for 5 rounds in this environment. So
That's
that
great.
yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, and the great thing is you're fighting for the title. Gilbert Smith left and went to Bellator. We've seen a lot of RFA fighters go to the UFC. We just saw Luke Sanders this week get signed to the UFC. He's going to be on that Boston card. How far do you think you are away from the UFC, especially if you win here on January 15th?
Well, that's the thing. Gilbert Smith won the belt and defended the belt, and he never got a call. I don't know. Is there any kind of deal between Gilbert and UFC, or is it just like UFC doesn't are not signing new guys for welterweight class? I heard that that weight class is stacked. I would definitely like to join UFC. That's my goal. That's why I left my home 4 years ago. I just wanted to come train with the best and compete with the best. And as I'm already, I told you, and you know that I'm training with couple of best guys in my weight division in UFC. My goal is definitely to become part of the UFC and also to compete there. I think I'm ready to compete on that level, and I think that's the only thing that I want to show in this fight. I don't. I'm not thinking about, I don't want to think too much about it. That's not in my head. My thing is just to focus on this fight, to win it. If the call comes, I'll be more than happy to accept it. If no, I'm just gonna keep working and keep improving my skills. And whenever the call comes, I'll be ready. I can assure you.
I was going to say you should get Neil and Brandon to put in a good word for you because they're already in the UFC. Maybe
They
get
already
get.
did.
I was going to say.
Actually, Neil already a couple of times when the guys were getting injured and stuff, he tweeted a couple of times that like my friend just won his RFA fight. He's ready to step in and do the thing, but the call didn't came. But we'll see. I believe this main event can bring me one step closer. If that one step will be enough, we'll see. But I'm telling you, I'm ready to go.
Good stuff. Well, we certainly look forward to it. Everyone's got to watch it. January 15th, RFA 34, live on Access TV. It's going to be a great card. Bojan, I just want to thank you so much for joining me here on the program. Just remind my audience where they can find you on social media and give any thank yous or shout outs. The floor is yours.
You can follow me on Twitter as Serbian Steel MMA, and Twitter and also Instagram, Bojan Velickovic 88. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Guys, follow me if you can. Watch the fight, and I promise you that I'm gonna put hell of a performance, and it's gonna be fun to watch.